Luka Dončić taking a hit to the knee in an exhibition for Slovenia is exactly the kind of summer moment that sends Lakers fans into a spiral, and for good reason. The team's offseason identity now revolves around Luka, his conditioning, his offensive role, and the hope that he stays healthy enough to carry Los Angeles into contention. The immediate facts here are simple and, for now, mostly reassuring. The collision looked scary on camera. He left the court favoring his right leg, was later diagnosed with a knee contusion, and sources say it isn't believed to be a structural injury. Still, a contusion, while not a torn ligament or meniscus, isn't trivial for a player whose game depends on cutting, lateral quickness, and explosive drives to the basket. First, what a contusion means in real terms. A contusion is a deep bruise to the soft tissues that surround a joint. With enough force, it can cause swelling, pain with loading, and temporary stiffness that limits explosiveness and confidence. The upside, contusions generally get better with rest, ice, anti-inflammatories as appropriate, and a controlled return-to-play plan. The downside, if a player pushes through persistent pain too quickly, altered mechanics can lead to compensatory injuries, hamstrings, hips, or the other knee, or ongoing inflammation that nips at conditioning and performance. Why this matters for the Lakers more than it might for another roster. They traded for Luka as the central, non-negotiable piece of their future. The team's offseason decisions, rotations, minutes management, and the balance of veteran role players versus two-way pieces were made assuming a healthy Doncic. A late summer injury that lingers into training camp would complicate those plans immediately. Beyond the roster mechanics, there's the optics and the psychology. Fans and media are primed to treat any Luka-related hiccup like a championship-level crisis, which can influence public pressure on both Slovenia's staff and Lakers decision-makers. So what should the Lakers and Luka do from here? The answer is multi-layered and grounded in conservative, evidence-based load management. First, demand objective clarity. An MRI to rule out ligamentous or meniscal damage is the right first step. And if team reports already indicate only a contusion, that's encouraging. The medical updates that matter are objective. MRI findings, swelling measurements, range of motion scores, pain with sport-specific loading drills, and performance on graded plyometrics. Vague day-to-day language doesn't help anyone. Transparency from Slovenia's trainers in coordination with Lakers doctors is crucial. Second, align on a workload plan. If imaging confirms a simple contusion, then a short period of rest, 48 to 72 hours, anti-inflammatory management, and progressive return to running/jumping drills is typical. But progressive is the operative word. Controlled court work, monitored cutting, and a gradual increment of minutes in practice or exhibition games. Slovenia will understandably want their star on the floor for EuroBasket, but the Lakers and Luka should set firm limits. Restricted minutes in exhibitions, no back-to-back heavy loads, and a protocol to pull him at the first sign of persistent swelling. The risk-reward of one national tournament game is not worth compromising an entire NBA season. Third, protect biomechanics. Luka has reportedly transformed his body this summer. Significant weight loss and conditioning changes can be a net positive for durability, but also temporarily alter joint mechanics. The Lakers' performance staff should use functional movement screens, gait and jump analyses, and targeted strength work, single leg stability, hip abductor, glute activation, to shore up any vulnerabilities caused by recent body composition changes. Doing this early minimizes compensations that lead to secondary injuries. Fourth, communicate clearly with the public. Panic fuels poor decisions. If the teams involved share medical evidence and a clear timeline, for example, MRI negative for structural damage, plan is 7 to 10 days of modified activity, then reassess with on-court progression, that calms speculation and allows coaches and medical staff to do their jobs without theatrical pressure. Finally, be prepared for scenarios and their implications. Best case, contusion heals cleanly in a week to 2, Luka sits out the bulk of exhibitions, returns fresh to Lakers training camp, and the team proceeds with their planned load management program. Middle case, swelling or pain lingers and prompts a longer ramp, meaning limited preseason minutes and a conservative approach in early regular season games. The Lakers can absorb that if they planned for it. Staggered rest, early season minute restrictions, and a deeper bench plan. Worst case, An unexpected complication reveals a deeper structural issue, rarer but possible, that would change everything. Right now, there's no indication we're headed that direction, but contingency planning is prudent. In short, this was a scare that demands attention, not hysteria. The physical diagnosis of a contusion is not career-altering if handled correctly. It becomes a bigger story only if the return is rushed or if cross-organizational communication breaks down. For Lakers fans, the priority should be process over headlines, insist on clear medical reporting, accept a conservative approach to international minutes, and trust that a short patient rehab now will be far better than scrambling through November. The next week's updates on imaging, functional testing, and minutes in Slovenia will be the real gauge of whether this was a blip or something that needs deeper concern. The panic sell headline, "Luka injured, could ruin Lakers season before it starts," is emotionally clickable, but let's parse this logically and clinically. Short version, the situation is serious enough to merit close attention and conservative management, but one awkward collision in an exhibition game rarely by itself ruins an NBA season. The real risk comes from how the player, national team, and Lakers handle the next 72 hours and the following ramp-up period, what likely happened and why it matters. A planted leg collision that forces a player to limp off typically falls into two broad buckets: a soft tissue contusion, bruising, swelling, pain, or a structural injury, ligament, meniscus, or cartilage. Early reports that Doncic was diagnosed with a contusion are encouraging. Contusions are painful but recoverable in days to a couple of weeks with proper care. Structural damage is the game changer and would require imaging, MRI, and a longer timeline. Immediate medical priorities, next 48 to 72 hours, get an MRI if pain, instability, or swelling persists. Conservative treatment immediately: rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation, controlled anti-inflammatories, and neuromuscular assessment. Protect weight bearing as needed. Don't rush back to cutting and contact. Clear, frequent communication between Slovenia's medical staff and the Lakers' team doctors is essential to align recovery priorities and avoid mixed signals. Decision points that determine domino effects. If MRI is clean, contusion only, and symptoms fall quickly, Luka likely misses little to no NBA time, maybe withdraws from or limits minutes at EuroBasket, then resumes full ramp-up. If MRI shows structural damage, gradable ligament sprain, or meniscal issue, timelines expand. A moderate sprain can be weeks. Meniscal problems or torn ligaments can be months and potentially push the Lakers into contingency mode. The single biggest avoidable risk is playing through pain or accelerating return because of national team obligations or personal pride. That's what converts a short scare into a season-altering injury. What the Lakers should do now: insist on MRI and a formal Lakers-led rehabilitation plan. Advise or require Doncic to limit or skip EuroBasket reps if there's any lingering pain or swelling. International exposure isn't worth jeopardizing an NBA season. Build short-term roster contingency plans. Adjust rotations, secure additional ball handlers, playmakers in preseason if needed, prepare load management scenarios. Communicate transparently with fans to reduce panic. Disciplined messaging matters. What fans should know: one scary moment does not equal catastrophe. Modern teams manage injuries aggressively. Players frequently miss games for short-term precautionary reasons and return fully. The critical window is immediate medical evaluation and disciplined rehab. If the Lakers treat this as a cautionary blip and Luka follows a conservative, measured return-to-play plan, the team's core contention hopes should remain intact. Bottom line: breathe, watch the MRI and medical timeline, and hope Slovenia and the Lakers put long-term health above short-term heroics.